We'll Welcome to S2S Classes. Today we'll study the chapter Super Senses of Class 5 EVS. Okay, so please like this video and subscribe to our channel. So starting with this chapter, which is Super Senses, the first thing we'll see are a few incidents, okay? Just the daily life incidents that you would have observed. So have you seen any eagle take away food, flying down and then taking away food or roti? Or maybe whenever you are walking across any dog which is sleeping, it will slowly lift its ear as if it has heard something. Or whenever something sweet drops, there you'll see there are many ants which collect around it. Okay, so have you ever thought that why all this happens? Just think about it. So basically what happens is animals, they have different senses. They can see, they can hear, taste, smell, and they can even feel. Okay, so there are various senses of these types that the animals have, like hearing, tasting, smelling, and feeling. So if we see in these examples, in the first one, the eagle was able to feel or to see it. The eagle was able to see the food from far away and therefore it took the food. The dog was able to hear you coming, so it lifted its ear. So in this manner everything has a reason to it. Okay, so we'll start now. Let's take an example. So an ant was going along on the ground. Okay, it saw a group of ants coming from the other side, and the first ant, it quickly came back to its hole. All the ants live in ant hole, so it quickly came back to its hole, and the ant which was guarding the hole recognized her and it let her in. Now the question is, how did the ant know that the other ants were not from its group? So the ants, they identify each other, they identify their friends with the sense of smell. Okay, so they can smell and identify that if an ant is of their group or not. So the next question that we have is, how did the guard ant recognize this ant? So this ant was also recognized by the smell only. Now we'll move ahead, and next there is something which you have to try. Just drop some sugar or something sweet like jaggery onto the ground and then wait until the ants come there, and there are certain questions which you need to fill in. So like the first one I'll do for you, that is, how long did it take for the ants to come? Let's suppose that it took 15 minutes. So we'll write it down that 15 minutes. It took 15 minutes for the ants to come. Okay, so in this manner, you need to observe this and fill all these answers. Now we'll move ahead and then we'll see that there is one question where we have to block the path of the ants and then observe what happens. Now what happens is, when we block their path, we observe that the ants start moving randomly. Okay, so this is because we need to know the reason for this. So many years ago, there was a scientist who did experiments like this, and he was able to find that ants move, they leave a smell on the ground, and the other ant which is behind it, it follows that smell. But when you block their path, they are not able to get the smell. So that's why they start moving randomly. And whenever we observe the ants, they move in a straight line, in a single line. This is because they all are following the smell. Okay, so so with this, we get to know that how these ants move in a straight line. Next up, there is an example where there are certain insects which can recognize their females by their smell only. Okay, just like for example, there is a silkworm. Okay, and that silkworm, it can identify the female with the help of smell only. Okay, and moreover, you all must have faced mosquitoes while sleeping. They trouble you a lot. So what happens is these mosquitoes, they can find you by your smell, by the smell of your soul, the sole of your feet, and even by the heat of your body. They can feel the heat of your body, and these are the ways in which a mosquito finds you and then it troubles you. Okay. Also, one more thing that we need to think is that, have you ever seen a dog sniffing here and there? Okay, जो डॉग होता है वो इधर उधर स्मेल कर रहा होता है. ऐसा क्यों करता है वो? क्योंकि जो डॉग्स होते हैं, दे मार्क आउट देयर एरिया, वो अपना एक इलाका बना लेते हैं, एंड वो स्मेल से बता सकते हैं कि कोई और डॉग वहां पे आया है कि नहीं. ओके, सो टू मार्क देयर एरिया एंड टू know if other dog has come into it, they use the sense of smell. Now there are a few questions that we'll discuss. So in what ways do human beings make use of the special sense of smell of dogs? Okay, so you all must have seen police dogs, okay, which help to catch criminals. Also, they help in finding bombs and all. So you need to discuss all these questions, and after discussing these, you will get an idea about everything. Okay. So next, we need to find, there's a certain situation in which there's a story that today Rajni had to go out for some important work. She had to leave her 6 months old son Deepak with her sister Sushila. Sushila also had a baby of the same age. It was funny that both babies did potty at the same time. She happily cleaned her daughter, but when she was cleaning her sister's son Deepak, she covered her nose with her dupatta. Now there are a few questions and you need to think about this. So Shushila covered her nose when she cleaned Deepak's nappy, but not when she cleaned her daughter. Why do you think she did this? Okay, so you can give answers of what you think. Okay, and then you can discuss it with your elders, and then you can get the answer, and we can have a discussion about this in the class. Okay, so just tell me, what do you feel is the reason, and comment down your answer. So now moving ahead, there is one thing that we need to observe. Okay, so have you ever observed the eyes of a bird? Okay, now just write the names of birds which have eyes in front of their head, just like us, and then also write the names of the birds which have eyes on the sides. Okay, on the sides of their head. So when you make a list, you will get to know one thing, that it is most of the birds, they have their eyes on the sides of the head. Okay, and they can focus on two objects at a time. Okay, this is important, that both their eyes can focus on the same object also, and both can focus on different things at a time. Now, have you ever seen, let's consider a hen. Have you ever seen a hen? जब भी मुर्गी चलती है वो हमेशा इधर उधर देख रही होती है. Okay, it keeps on moving its neck. So the reason behind this is that birds, they have their most of the birds, they have their eyes fixed. They cannot move their eyes as we can. So they have to move their head to see things around them. Okay, so this is the reason that it is happening. Now there is a small activity which you can perform, that is known as looking with one or the both eyes. Now the question comes, like whenever you see around, there are lots of colors around you. Now are the animals also able to see the same colors? So here we have an example. Okay, so here is, there are four versions of the same image. The first one is which human beings see. The second one is what is seen by a bird. The third one is seen by a dog, and the fourth one is of animals which are awake only at night, so they only see black and white things. Okay, so they're animals, they are also not able to see all the colors. So this is one thing we should remember. Now this was about the sense of seeing. Now we'll talk about the sense of hearing. So when we are discussing the sense of hearing, okay, in class 6 you have read that in birds you cannot see the ears. Okay, their ears are small holes which are covered with feathers. So you need to, what do you need to do is now write the name of 10 animals whose ears can be seen, and also the name of animals whose ears are bigger than you. Okay, now there's something which we need to think about. So do you guys think that the size of the ears matter? Like if you have a bigger ear you will be able to listen more. Do you think that it will matter? For this we'll do an activity. So with your friends you can do this activity. All of you go into a silent room, and then you stand at a corner and send one friend at some distance and ask him to speak something very lightly in a soft voice, softly. So you'll be able to and listen and try listening it. And then what you do is you put both your hands behind your ears as shown in this image, and then ask him to speak again. So, and you need to analyze, आपको देखना है कि किस तरीके से आप ज्यादा अच्छे तरीके से सुन पाए हैं. Okay, so and then you can interpret, and then you will understand that how your the size of ears are important. Now we have another thing that we'll be discussing, that is sounds send messages. Okay, so here it goes. High up on a tree, a langur warns other of dangers like a tiger or a leopard. The langur does this by making a special warning call. Okay, so there is a special voice that the langur will make, which will warn everyone that a dangerous animal like a tiger or a leopard is coming. Birds also give alarm calls to warn about the danger. Okay, and some birds even have different sounds for different kinds of dangers. For example, if there is a different warning call, the enemy is coming from the sky, or if the enemy is coming on the ground. If it is from the ground, it will make some other noise. If the enemy is coming from the sky, it will make some other noise. Okay, so this way animals can give different, make different voices to give warnings to their near ones. There is some small example. So in December 2004, few tribes that live in the forest of Andaman Islands noticed the animals behaving in a different manner. Okay, so they guessed that there is some danger. So they moved away to safer parts of the islands. So because they thought that there is some danger. And then soon after, the islands was hit after a tsunami, and the human beings were saved. So you can see that this capability of animals was able to save even the human beings. So this is one important thing. Now one more thing that we'll discuss is about dolphins. Okay, so dolphins also make different sounds to give messages to each other. And scientists believe that they have a special language of their own to communicate. Like if we want to talk to each other, we have a language, maybe we use English or Hindi, but dolphins की भी एक special language होती है, ऐसा scientists ने predict किया है. Okay, so there are a few questions that you need to write the answers for. So can you understand the sound of some animals? Like there's a dog, it will bark, so you can understand that it is a dog. So you need to understand these languages. Okay, now next we have is say it with sounds. Just like birds and dolphins, you can also make your own language of sounds for giving messages. Okay, now suppose you and your friend are there. When the teacher is coming, you make a special sound, and then your friends will understand that the teacher is coming. So this is one activity that you all can do together. Now we have is sleeping, waking. Some animals go into a long, deep sleep in certain seasons. Okay, they are not seen for many months. Like you can see, during winters, you won't be able to see the lizards in your house. So the question is, why this happens? They go into a deep sleep. Okay, so we'll talk about this. Now we'll talk about one animal which is known as a sloth. Okay, so it looks, here is the image of a sloth. This is the image of how a sloth looks. It basically looks like a bear, but it is not a bear. So it spends almost 17 hours a day sleeping. Can you imagine? Out of the 24 hours, it sleeps for 17 hours a day. Okay, and it hangs upside down on the tree branches, and it eat the leaves of the same tree on which it lives. It needs nothing else other than that. Okay, and when it has eaten enough leaves, it moves to the next tree, and they live for about 40 years. Okay, and along during this time they move only to 8 trees. Okay, and once in a week it comes down to relieve itself, which is written over here. Now when we see over here, there are two pie charts which indicate the sleeping times. Okay, so the first one that we have over here shows the sleeping time for sloth, that is almost 17 hours. The dark part shows the sleeping time for sloth, whereas the white part shows the waking time. And when we talk about a house lizard in winters, how will we show the clock? In winters, the house lizard is always sleeping, so it is completely dark. Okay, it is sleeping 24 into 7. Now here are a few examples which are given to you. You need to write how many hours do they indicate. I'll do two for you, and two you need to try on your own and write the answers in the comments. So over here, cow sleeps for 4 hours, and the python, or I'll do for the giraffe will sleep for 2 hours. The rest two you need to do on your own. Okay, so now we'll move ahead, and now we'll talk about the tiger. So one by one we'll talk about all the features. So first, a tiger can see 6 times better than at night than most of the human beings. Okay, this is one feature. Then moving ahead, the tiger whiskers are very sensitive and can sense the movement or vibrations in air. Okay, so even at the night they can sense their prey by the movement only. Okay, also next we have a tiger's sense of hearing is so sharp that it can make out the difference between the rustling of leaves and the sound of animals moving on a grass. Okay, so their ears are so strong that if they can even make out the difference, उन्हें उसका भी अंतर पता चल जाता है कि कब हवा की वजह से पत्ते हिले हैं और कब किसी जानवर के चलने की वजह से पत्ते हिल रहे हैं. तो इसका भी डिफरेंस टाइगर्स सुन के पता लगा सकते हैं. Now next we have is tigers make different sounds for different purposes. Like when it is angry or call out to a tigress, it can also roar or snarl. It can roar, its roar can be heard up to 3 kilometers. So you see how loud the roar can become. It can even be heard till 3 kilometers. And now next we have is each tiger has its own area which may cover several kilometers, and they mark their area with the help of their urine. Okay, and once it can at once come to know if other tiger has come into the area by the smell of the urine. Okay, so a tiger will always avoid going into others area. They always live in their own area, so they have a very good sense of smell also. Now next we'll move ahead. We have talked a bit about tigers, and one more thing that we need, that is important, is to know is that the number of tigers and many other animals in our country is reducing. Okay, there is a danger that some of them will even disappear. And to protect these animals, our government has made some forests as protected areas. Okay, just like Jim Corbett National Park and Ghana in Bharatpur. So these are the areas where no one can hunt any animals or destroy the jungle. And we should always protect animals. Now, what you need to do is you also need to find out where there are such national parks present in India. Okay, and they collect this information and then write a report on this. Okay, so with this, we have come to an end for this chapter. Thank you, everyone, and please like the video.